Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/culturalstew. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Please listen carefully.
Welcome to the Cultural Stew Podcast, coming to you from the Goat Factory Media Entertainment Studios. We are your cultural media recommendation podcast, giving you our take on what we think is worth carving your time out for, and also what we think you can pass on and maybe go cut that lawn instead. Warning, we use adult language, and there may be spoilers ahead. Hello and welcome to episode number 11 for the week of April 29th, 2018. I am your host, Ron Herkins Jr., and I'm here with my co-hosts,
Tony Carter,
Valerie Vidmar.
Hey guys, how you doing, ladies?
Thank you. I don't mind being called.
It's one of the. You can have the discussion all day. It's one of those weird,
honestly,
vernaculisms.
I'm really not that offended. I'm doing well. I just came from a birthday party.
Oh,
at altitude.
Well, your birthday?
No, altitude.
Did you survive?
We were in a room, so I was fine. So
did they have trampolines in the room?
Oh, and then our car broke down, so Jason didn't have. He had to jump it, so I have the truck, which I didn't want to because it's very hard to. I can't park that truck.
It's huge.
I'm horrible with that truck. So yeah, but I'm here.
So you were in a room? You guys didn't get to jump or hop? Or
the kids did.
You didn't try?
I have before. Not today. Not today. But we went to altitude, but last time we went to Sky Zone. And
what's the difference?
There's a difference, but let's, I think it just depends. I like Sky Zone better. Other people like altitude. It doesn't really matter.
I've never been to either one. I've
Same.
wanted to, but I have this I have this sneaking suspicion that I'm either going to clothesline a kid or send somebody into a concussion at one of those places.
Unless if you feel like you can jump, it's fun.
It's a new sport. It's an Olympic sport now too. Jumping.
Do you jump? Have you gone there?
No, but I've been worried about breaking or hurting my neck. I've been hearing horror stories. People hurting their necks.
And how old is your youngest? Or how old is your oldest? I mean.
My youngest is still a fetus, and my oldest is 2.
Okay, because I took Harper when she was 2 or 3, and they have a section just for that section, like right there, and you can jump with them, and they think it's the best.
Like Discovery Zone.
Yeah,
that was better.
Growing up, I used to have a trampoline in our yard because I didn't have many friends, so I just had a trampoline that I bounced on a lot. Whatever. But I taught myself how to do backflips off of it. And I remember
We mean off of it to the ground?
No, on it and doing backflips.
Oh, okay.
And I remember missing once and landing right at the base of my neck. And ever since then, I could never do a backflip again. It's just it's stuck there mentally.
No, I understand.
And it's every time I want to go to one of these things, I'm just something bad's going to happen.
But there's nothing like that there.
There's foam cubes.
You'd be surprised how easily I can hurt myself or hurt somebody else. It happens.
We should take a podcast to the altitude and watch this and commentate. It'd be fun.
Screaming kids on... No.
They do get... people... I haven't seen anybody get hurt, but man, the thing you have to sign, the waiver...
Oh, yeah.
How many pages?
It's very long. And
it's even got a death release on it, probably.
It does.
Yeah.
Nope.
Because a man died diving in. He wasn't thinking. Diving in, he did head first into. They don't even have them anymore. It used to be foam stuff, and I just realized that was an issue of mine right now.
Foam cubes save lives.
The phone needs to be turned off. There we go.
As everybody rushes to their phones at the same time. Well, as you may have noticed, we've kind of took an extra week off here. We did put something on Facebook. We're kind of going back to our 2-week schedule. We'll talk a little bit later about this as to why. But it is getting busy season for all of us individually, so that is a big thing. So we're kind of catching up here on the air. So, Anthony, what have you been up to this week?
I've been writing a lot still. A lot of writing, and...
I'm so jealous.
Don't be jealous. Just do it. Get a piece of paper out and write. Say, I want to write. Write it 100 times.
I try.
How about just getting an index card and writing an index card a day.
Yes.
Start there. So you're writing basically an outline of a scene a day.
I'm better with prompts.
You need a
Like, give me a
prompt.
prompt a day.
Okay, I'll get you a book next time.
I have a book. I have books.
I don't
I don't know. Anyway,
do
how
it.
much did you write?
We can send Harper around with a pen and needle, like poking you. Like,
No.
you got to write.
I'm going to bother you on Facebook now. I'm going to find you on Facebook. I'm going to bother you.
Don't do Facebook. Just do Slack.
What color
leave Facebook alone. I don't even
is
go
the
on
sky?
Facebook.
She goes on Facebook once every 2 weeks.
Okay, then Slack. What color is the sky?
You can bother Jason. He's on there all the time.
But
Sorry.
Jason,
Sorry,
like
yeah.
whenever Jason posts, there's these long, like
Oh my gosh, they're books.
multi-paragraph. They're great. We love you, Jason. It's just I chuckle every time. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good because you can sit back and just like.
It's a book.
But he's always so very positive, affirming.
He is a good writer. I'm going to tell you that.
positive.
He is a good writer, and he's a fantastic. You know those cards you get, the cards.
Motivational.
No, like just cards you get for a birthday or Mother's Day or whatever.
I used to do that in high school and in college. I used to write cards for people, sentiment
Good
writers.
job. It does a good job of writing.
It's good money.
I'm telling you, what you write in the card. Yeah.
What'd you do this past couple weeks there, Val?
Oh, me. Okay, because we have a new kitchen and you're trying to...
No leaks, right? Leaks are good.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so originally it was the dishwasher that leaked, but we got a new dishwasher, and now the dishwasher tells you that there's a leak. Jason went insane because he's like, what is going on? There's like this beeping. So it says leak censored or something. The guy comes and it's just like a mechanic. He stood there. It worked. It's fine. I don't know what happened, but it's fine now. So there was no leak really.
It could be a break-in period with it where it just kind of sensed something.
Did it call the mechanic for you, or did you have to do that yourself?
They do have those.
That
Not a
scares me.
mechanic. I'm saying that, you know,
You know
when
what I mean? The
when
repair
The
you're-
person.
Maytag repairman.
I know
But she meant in the mechanic way where like you have
the car.
the car and it's causing issues. You bring it into the mechanic.
It's not making
There's
noise.
nothing wrong.
It's not making noise. It makes a noise, I promise you. Listen, let's just wait. But so because the kitchen is a certain way, I feel like I have to rearrange everything in the house. It's driving Jason nuts. Every time he comes up, there's new furniture in different places. And this is what I talk to you about because you're film people, but in different ways. I was a film major. Okay. Different type of thing. I'm getting a lot of slack, mostly from my husband, and about my movie collection. I have a DVD collection.
Okay.
And Zoe, my sweetheart, has helped me. I started putting them on thing. I'm going to, like, I have them all on. I thought I had it and I don't know where it went. So it's my film collection. And so far we have stopped at around just under 300.
Holy moly.
And they work beautifully in these. They're Target, but they're really beautiful, like cool pops of color, blue cabinets, and they all fit in there. There's two of them. They used to be stacked upon each other, blocking a window. So I'm going to take them out and put them in different areas. And Jason feels like he understands the books because I have a book problem as well, but the DVDs he does not understand. He thinks that they need to be. He's like, you can just get everything on. You can just. Okay, here's the thing.
I know what you're
That's
going to say.
bullshit. If I bought all the stuff that I have on Amazon, you know how much that would cost me? It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, but I would like, and Zoe thought I was fascinating. Some of the stuff she's reading, like she doesn't know what they are, and she's just, it's like 9, 1, 2 weeks.
9.5 weeks.
And she, I was like, don't look at the pictures.
This is a mommy movie.
Just put it aside. Why do we have two of them? Dad had one too. So like she's like, why do you have two of all these movies? Because I forget that I have them. Like I have, she's like, you have a lot of movies that you haven't unwrapped. I know. I've seen them. I just want them. But I have a lot of movies and I want to put them in the TV room. How do you feel? Do you think that is just garbage? or do I put them away so nobody can see them?
I know Anthony is going to have different feelings on this than me. I mentioned a couple episodes back that I rarely go back and watch a film a second time unless it's something I really, 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 really like. And when I was younger, I was amassing a DVD collection. I'm probably only about 150 in DVDs. And then they started coming out with Blu-rays, and I'm like, I don't want to buy everything else on Blu-ray again. And so I kind of crossed that line where it's like, okay, I'm only going to start buying things that I know I'm going to watch more than once. Mm-hmm. And so that has gotten to be a very, very small...
Shush.
I'm watching Valerie over here
control
her burps and
I'm trying.
Just
Go ahead.
let it go.
I can't. I'm not going to do that.
And so I actually gave away all of my DVDs.
You what?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, my
because
face.
I'm also,
do you see my face?
Well, you understand, I'm also a quality person. So DVDs on a 4K system look like crap.
Right, I agree.
They just don't upscale.
Okay,
so for me to watch them, any of the DVDs now were just like, I didn't want them. So I gave them away to somebody who...
What do they look like? Pixelated?
It's pixelated.
Noise.
And so
you can still have a TV that you use. I'm an interrupter.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
fine.
No, go
We
ahead.
all interrupt each other. And so I gave those away to somebody else that they could use them and watch them.
Good.
And so what I've capped now are like the specific Blu-ray films that I'll watch over again. And then started now with the 4K collection of, like Thor Ragnarok type stuff. Stuff that I feel that I can watch over and over again. Like the whole Marvel series, I'm now starting to build that back up. The Star Wars. So like those are the kind of things that I'll watch over and over again. I'm not going to watch Citizen Kane 15,000 times over again, so I have no need to watch. Even though it's one of my favorite films, I'm not going to buy it I have access to it whenever I want to. But
So you have them near you?
I have we have a 90-inch, 100-inch cabinet underneath our TV. And in there are two big drawers of them. And they're almost getting full.
See them.
I want, if my wife is very argumentative in this, and if she was listening to this, it would be an interesting conversation. But my ideal living room, I would actually be going out and buying like, not memorabilia, but actual like pieces of film props and stuff.
I'm doing that. And Jason.
Unfortunately, it's an expensive hobby that I've never really gotten into. And so like I wanted to get like original film posters, and start putting those up and little film props here and around the room, because I feel like that would be more
That's cool.
meaningful to me than showing off my DVDs. I've never really liked the look of seeing all the DVDs lined up, because they're just...
But they're not. They're like in a shelf.
Right, but they're different than looking at like books to me. Like books they're all different widths and sizes, and they've got character. For some reason, like I can see 300... DVDs.
What if I go like this?
But they're still all like that same format of...
Got it.
Spine.
And with very few like, oh, here's a collector's edition. That's a big, thick collector's edition.
Or a TV show.
So you're saying no.
To me, I don't.
You think it's tacky?
I don't... It depends on how your feelings are. Like, that's where I would rather go. I would rather go with decorating my room with movie stuff.
It's decorative. I can send you a picture. What are your thoughts, Jack?
Okay, so... In college, I had in my dorm room, I had storage space, like cabinet space. And in my storage space, I had all my DVDs. I have about 450, actually, SD DVDs in my possession. Right now, they're not in our...
What's SD?
Standard definition.
Oh.
So
that's DVD.
Yeah.
DVD is SD.
Oh.
They came out with SD, HD, then Blu-ray.
Got it.
So in college, I had all these DVDs. When I got married for the first time... Only time. Sorry, Grace.
I was like, first time?
I actually...
Is this the part where we start taking clothes off? Or?
Yeah, he's hot. So, basically...
It's red. And, oh my God, it's red and yellow. And we're going to talk about that later. Move on.
He's wearing a Bazinga shirt. So, basically, I collect DVDs because I watch movies, and there was a period of time when on standard definition DVDs that they had commentary tracks and behind the scenes featurettes.
I love that shit.
That's why I bought them. But nowadays, when you rent them from Amazon, there's nothing like that.
That's right.
Which is why I don't
That is
want
right.
to have the digital download because I'm missing that
That's right.
aspect of the DVD. Now,
Nerds.
currently, my DVDs are in plastic totes that Grace bought from Target, her favorite store in the whole world, and they're falling apart because there's so many DVDs and VHS. And yeah, I still have VHS.
Dude,
I still have a
VHS.
VCR.
I have two VCRs.
So I can still watch old Disney films and not the DVD versions because that's nice for me.
I have The Graduate.
I like the texture of old film and especially VCR videos, but that's a different thing. But yeah, I still have about my 400 plus DVDs, and I still would rather
your
them
living
be
room.
Not anymore. They're under Marnie's crib, but they will be in our new place. We're moving, by the way. They will be in stands. My problem was that Grace had them under the TV in our TV stand, but they were double decked to the point where I had to pull one out to see what was behind it, and that drove me nuts. I said that's not fair to the movie behind it or the one in front of it. They were pushing them aside, and
So you do too. You kind of feel like they're children.
so I need to see them, and it's not
Me
because
too,
I
and they
want
make me
them.
feel
It's
good.
just I need to know that they're there so I can pull them out and watch them. And
They make me feel good.
they're not alphabetized.
When in about like
Oh, that's the other thing. Alphabetized?
My mentor friend Mario does that for me, so I don't have to. Marcy will do it sometimes, but I don't. I let them. It's their fun of organization.
Because I was thinking high fidelity, and I was thinking, do I do alphabetized? Do I do it by
I do it by
year?
genre.
Do I do by genre? Or do I by time of my life? Do I by, you know how in high fidelity when he's trying to figure out? Okay, anyway.
it was funny because I had a discussion. It was 99 or 2000 with somebody when I was just starting to get like my collection and starting to build it. And I said, you know what? I envision a world where like 10, 15 years from now, we can just pull all of our films from one central database. That to me is heaven. I can go out and get any film I want at any time.
Including film comments? Including like
Well, at that time,
commentary?
it wasn't that huge. This 99, so DVDs commentary was only around for about 3 or 4 years at this time.
Blockbuster is still around.
But I was never huge on a lot of the commentary because there's very few people. Like I start listening to it, and I'm like, this is really stupid commentary.
Oh my God.
The commentary that I found funny is when you have like a funny actor or a director like in the same room talking about something.
X-Men 3 Last Stand has a good commentary. It's funny. They make fun of the movie that they
That's
just
very
made.
interesting.
There's a website, Film School Rejects, which has a article they put out every once in a while. It's called Commentary, where the writer of the article listens to the commentary and pulls out funny tidbits or things he learned or she learned from the movie by listening to it. And at the end, they have fast facts. And usually it's a mixture of seriousness and just casual stuff. So that's a little shout out.
Full of information. Love that. I'm going to keep him in the room. You know what? You should do what you love, and life is short.
Have you seen the Steel books?
No?
All right. Go into Best Buy sometime.
Best Buy. Oh, Best Buy. I was thinking Blockbuster. Sorry.
There's one in
There's
Alaska.
one in Alaska.
Are we going to that probably sometime soon?
You remember me talking about Russell Crowe's auction?
Steal,
Yes.
Did you see
steal
what
like
Colbert
thief? Or
I did
steal
not,
like...
but
Or not.
Steal?
John Oliver.
Like the Man of Steel or stealing?
Steel. S-T-E-E-L.
Okay, well,
Steel
there's stealing like...
books. Just go into Best Buy and look for their Steel book section. And you'll get a completely different perspective on collecting DVDs.
We don't collect them. We watch them. But
No, I think there's a fine line between collecting DVDs
There's
and
nothing
watching.
wrong with collecting films.
no, I buy them to watch.
No,
them.
I think you might say,
I need this
because they're
and I
going to change the way you look at like the actual packaging of
Okay.
the film and like decoration. Because it might be one of those like cross the line with Jason saying, "Oh, these are stylish."
Seriously?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
really cool. They're like like aluminum.
I have aluminum Edward Scissorhands. It's really cool.
It might be a steelbook because they've got really cool etched in
But they're
covers.
Yes, that's what his is. His.
Do you know why I still keep DVDs? Because I have a fear one day that I may be stranded someplace. And I have a portable DVD player. And I want to have the physical copy of the
No.
DVD. There may be a bomb goes off and we can't watch things digitally. I still have the physical DVD. And I have an Xbox One, by the way. And I have no space on my Xbox because I've downloaded games, which I wish I had not done. So I broke my own rule with video games. And I can't. I'm running out of space.
I
It's
have
crazy.
a fear of like Amazon or Netflix like going down. Like losing
Boom.
all of my shit, all of my movies that
Right.
I have, and then I have them. Because Amazon is going to crash. And now once all my stuff's going to be back, it's like iPod, my iPod
What did
crashes.
they do crash?
And then you're like, can I get my music back? Well, only the music that you bought from us. and you've spent hours and hours.
I'll hedge my bets that technology is going forward and not.
Primary example, Amazon Storyteller shut down. I had a script on there. I didn't realize they were shutting down. I lost my script. I had backups, of course, but I uploaded it and it was on the site. And they said, oh, we're going away now. Same thing with...
Yeah, but the film side ain't going away.
I do want...
It's too lucrative.
I know. Anybody that listens, please comment. Do you keep your DVDs? Do you keep them out? Do you hide them? Do you sell them? Do you care about them? I want to know.
Grace hides mine.
I actually took all of my DVDs out and put them in a big giant sleeve and tossed all the cases. I can't stand cases.
Oh, my aunts do that too. They can't stand cases. I can't do that either, though. It's bad for them. Anyway, but and the cases are like...
It's bad for the cases?
No, it's bad for the... I mean, there's
the
so
physical
much...
copy of the DVD.
The physical copy of the DVD. I also have all of my CDs in 3...
I think we're just tangible. We like the physical contact of the CD in our hands that we know is still there because digital means it's in a cloud someplace.
So you guys aren't CD people? I
have
all
my
of
original.
my CDs.
I have my CDs from college.
Me too.
I haven't bought a CD since...
Well, me neither.
I still do when I can. I don't download.
I buy all
we
Paul
have
McCartney's.
them. I threw something on the other day, but like 3/4 of my collection is soundtracks.
I buy all Paul McCartney CDs. That's it. Of course I do. Okay, should we move on since we're boring probably everyone?
We're not boring anyone. We're fine.
People that love this shit.
Yeah. Well, today's docket.
God.
Go through a little news we care about. Go through our recommendations of the week. Talk about today's stew, which is a little bit about Quentin Tarantino's films and such. Let's go into the news. Anthony, what you got for the news?
So, first thing, news. British filmmaker SJ Clarkson has been tapped to direct the new Star Wars film. Star Trek, sorry. I'm thinking about Star Wars. I shouldn't be. Star Trek film.
Over Quentin?
I don't know over who. I just heard.
Because I know Quentin was in the pipeline for
Quentin.
Was it?
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It's still listed on his IMDb page, too, as...
Oh, jeez. Of course it is.
Okay. Well, that's news to me. She's the first female director ever to be tapped to direct a Star Trek film. Or anything, really. So that's exciting for me. Maybe other people.
Sister.
Now, SJ Clarkson, if you don't know, has directed EastEnders, Casualty, Dexter, Life on Mars, Ugly Betty.
Dexter.
A lot of stuff in America and over in the English. So that's news. I have two other things.
Good, because...
Fox is planning to release a Choose Your Own Adventure interactive movie.
Wasn't there...
How is
did
this
this
gonna
happen
work?
like 10 years ago? A
Clue.
theater did this, and
Clue.
like everybody had an option, and it was just like the worst thing that ever happened.
People, seriously. Let me get this up.
Maybe?
Go ahead.
Because I'm pretty sure I've had this story run before, and it was like 10 years ago, and it was just a disaster.
I'm only excited because I grew up reading these books. These are helped me become a better storyteller.
I don't disagree. I just think it ended up being a disaster because when you get out of a group mentality, they all end up choosing like which road leads to death the quickest, and I just think it just ended up being like unfun for everybody.
Well, let's hope
it was weird because it was like I'd have to hunt up the story, but I believe it was like it was one of those theater venues and dinner, so you get like dinner and a movie and.
Oh, mother of God! Sorry.
Nope, that wasn't it.
I'm sorry.
And my last little tidbit. Are you?
No, I'm not ready for you.
She's not out. So this is for Ron. My wife and I are watching TV, and Grace doesn't watch TV sometimes. She's always on her phone, and she was reading about stories about doctors and all that fun stuff. And his favorite movie of all time, Boss Baby, has caused a toddler to have a existential crisis.
Explain.
I'm going to read the story to you really quickly. So basically, we have a mother who told her pediatrician that her kid, who was around 5 years old, for the last 3 weeks was talking about death and how afraid he was of dying to the point of trying to avoid sleeping out of this fear. So we have a 5-year-old talking about death and afraid of dying.
All because of Boss Baby?
And not sleeping. And little by little, after 10 to 15 minutes of questioning the mother, we realized that the odd behavior began after the last movie the family saw, which was Boss Baby. So,
okay.
chew on that one.
I can't find it. I have it as an app. And I'm sorry.
Please go reference like episode 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 for my hatred of Boss Baby.
Okay, so why do I want to say it's Soderbergh?
Steven Soderbergh, yeah.
He put out an app, and you choose your own adventure, and it had some big people in it. And I can't find the app right now, but I have it on here, and I will tell you as soon as I get it. But it's Mosaic. That's what it is. It's Mosaic, and it's Steven Soderbergh, and it's a story that you navigate. It's an app. I just want to let you know that you can look into that if you're interested. Pretty cool.
Cool.
It has some really pretty cool people in there.
Yeah, he brings in some good talent. I mean, he's the guy behind Ocean's series.
Anyway.
So, thinking trailer news, the only big trailer that I remembering from this week was the new Venom trailer, where we actually get to see what Venom looks like.
Thoughts?
Venom?
He looks like Gumby.
Venom.
He's
Don't
very.
tell me that. I like Gumby. In a bad way?
It's interesting.
Who is Venom?
Venom is. How would you explain it?
He's basically not.
Give me Marvel?
He's Marvel.
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Thank you.
He's Spider-Man, but just imagine. Well, I can't say that either. He basically wears a black suit like Spider-Man, but it's black and white.
He's a symbiotic character that
alien.
basically takes over.
How does he look like Gumby? Gumby's green.
You need to see the trailer. No, I'm talking about the CGI rendering of him.
Oh.
Okay.
Is he looks like Venom, but for some reason Venom, like the character texture, looks very not finished.
Okay.
Did they not render it, or is this just a case that?
No, it just looks weird. I don't know.
Never heard of him.
You will.
Tom Hardy is like.
Oh, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
I know Tom Hardy.
There you go.
He's playing Brock. Brock, right?
Brock, yes.
Cool.
And I like Tom Hardy.
I only know Tom Hardy because of my niece.
And it's weird because Venom is a part of the Spider-Man universe.
Uh-huh.
And the deal that Marvel has with Sony is that Sony still has the rights to Venom and the characters in the Spider-Man universe. But none of that is going to exist in the actual Marvel universe. So whatever happens in this movie, even though it's a Marvel, it's not a Marvel movie, it's a Sony movie with Marvel characters. And it's the same thing I have, like feelings I have with like them never connecting the Netflix series or the TV property appropriately. Like all these things happen, and it's like, you know what, wouldn't there be threads that touch other things? And they never do. So, anything else?
I got nothing.
She got nothing.
I was going to mention
sorry,
something, but I
nothing.
don't want to get into it. It's political, so I don't want to get into it.
Who cares?
Okay,
Nothing's
well,
off limits here.
John Lasseter is due back to Pixar.
Yes. Yep.
Now, personally, I don't think he's.
It's
Yeah.
politically correct syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think he's coming back. I mean, some people want him to come back. Like 2% of people want him to come back, and everyone else doesn't. Me personally, after hearing what happened, what he was doing, I don't think he needs to come back. So
Yeah, I think he's coming off his sabbatical
Right.
after being accused of some inappropriate workplace things with women,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think Lasseter just needs to pack it up and walk away.
right. I mean, there's other issues.
And if he wants
too,
to
but-
continue doing what he needs to do, then he needs to do it from the shadows and not be in the limelight. I mean, he's a hard person. I mean, he's the guy behind pretty much everything we've seen at Pixar since
Toy Story.
Toy Story. So that's hard.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking for the last couple of years, they've been doing pretty good without him.
Correct. Well, Pete Docter has been tapped, I think, unofficially to take over in his place, but that's not official, so don't take my word for it. But I've been hearing things about they want him to lead the division. So, and that's one of his.
I think there's enough good people in place in Pixar that it's. I mean, without John Lasseter, they're going to be just fine.
Right.
It's sad that he did what he did, and
Agreed.
here we are. So, well, I think that wraps up our sad and happy news for the day. Going to move on into the recommendation list. And I'm going to just preface this by saying I think from here on out, it's going to be a very loose show. It's been a very crazy 2 weeks for pretty much all of us trying to get back in here. And now that we're here, we realize how much far behind all of us are. So bear with us and strap in and hang on for the ride. So up first, we're going to go with Valerie.
Oh, of course.
Hey.
Okay.
I've left you off the first list, I think.
What am I recommending? I can recommend... I finished it, Leslie. Okay, so The Man in the High Castle. I finished season 1. I will agree with my friend. It's beautifully shot. I had a hard time because I was watching it. I wasn't binge watching it. And it was okay for me. She loves it. And I wanted to love it because she loved it. But at the end, it throws you into a total like, what? I can't really even explain that. We're in a certain time period during 1940s, and then all at once we're thrown into today. Don't know how that happens, but whatever.
And it's an alternate reality.
It is. Okay, so whatever. The Leftovers.
A big piece of the puzzle.
There we go. The Man in the High Castle. I watched the first. I don't know. I guess I enjoyed it. I liked it enough, but not enough to watch the second season. I'm so sorry, but I just can't do it. Leftovers. I was hooked. Leftovers. I believe it's HBO, and Justin Theroux is in it. Lots of Justin Theroux is in it. What I'm trying to say is the man has no shirt on ever, and that's fine. It's from the first episode. I find it captivating. I think it's very interesting. There are some fantastic single episodes that make you think. What is
Leftovers about?
Let me just tell you, because I just realized that I didn't do that for you.
She just went right for Justin Theroux and hung with him.
That is what happened. So it's like 3 years after, like 2% of the population just disappeared. Boom, gone. And so the group of people that are left, I guess this is in New York.
Wait, only 2%?
Disappearance of 2% of the global health. Yeah, that's a lot. Anyway, the people that are left continue with their lives. They're trying to cope. But then we have people that are trying to figure out why they're gone, and they're forming groups. And we have people that are purists. I mean, they form all these different types of groups. It's fascinating how these people go on with life. It's also heartbreaking. They have people want to have funerals, and so they want to have people made, like they actually make they'll give them a picture, and there is a company that will make a duplicate of that person so that you can bury them. And it's very creepy. I highly recommend this series. I am, I think 2 seasons in. Maybe Jason was into it too. So if Jason if he doesn't walk away, that means it's watchable, and there's nothing in there that's really going to be too upsetting.
You said this is on HBO?
Yeah. Well, I think you can get it on Netflix now. Let me look for you. But The Leftovers. Okay, so it's very different than, it sounds like, what is The Leftovers? There's a book by, Cameron.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about who went religious?
Kirk Cameron, you mean
Kirk
Left Behind?
Cameron.
You're talking about Left Behind.
Left
series.
Behind. That is not the same thing.
That's what I was going to ask you. It sounds kind of similar.
It is not the same, and it's nowhere near the same. And it looks like you can watch it on Amazon Video. It looks like you can buy it on YouTube and on iTunes. So go for it.
Streaming on Amazon is what you're
see. Yes, okay. I do. But I recommend that. Those are my 2. So next.
Cool. How about you, Anthony?
So let's see
what was
here.
Up your,
I was on a documentary kick last couple weeks. So Ron, last time we were together, mentioned the documentary on Netflix called Wild Wild Country. And the way he was talking about it, it sounded very interesting. So my wife and I sat down and started watching it right away, and very captivating. And it almost felt like a real movie, not like a documentary. That they just happened to, these are like interviews they took from people based on, it's just, I'm sorry, it's confusing. It just was captivating. I mean, everyone was. I mean, Sheila the most, because she's not really a hero. She's not really the villain. She's kind of the anti-hero. You see where she's coming from and how she's trying to protect the people and things she loves. And it just was beautiful. I mean,
like bouncing back to what I was talking about last week is it starts her off as like, paints her as the bad guy. But as it goes on, it really leaves it open-ended as to like, you're making up your own decision, your own conclusions by the end of this.
Can you remind me who she is? I'm sorry.
Sheila was the...
No, she. Are you saying Sheila?
Yeah, Sheila.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
And she's the documentary?
She's the main...
Focus
I would
of the
say
documentary?
Kind of like the...
She was
like
the secretary for the leader.
Yeah.
She was the secretary for the leader.
Okay.
And basically what they painted it as is she was the brains behind everything, and the...
Got it.
Everything that happened, everybody started trying to blame on her. And
okay,
from her perspective, she was doing nothing that she wasn't supposed to do or wasn't told to do in protection of
Bhagwan.
And
it was so deep. I mean, then you have the lawyer who's like so like
emotional.
Yes.
So emotional.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We can go back. You can listen to last episode if you'd like to hear more about this as well.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I mean, I felt myself
surprised
like...
you didn't watch it this week.
Oh my God.
Be prepared for... I mean, I felt like...
I just can't.
This is wrong.
Right now.
This is good. This is wrong. I mean, I felt like, what is wrong with you? I was going back and forth like, this is wrong, but I understand her point of view. I felt so twisted and disturbed.
I will try.
And the Duplass brothers were producers on this, so that's a good for them.
What
They're
else?
always impressing me.
Right.
Jay and Mark Duplass.
The
filmmakers. The
Battered Bastards of Baseball was their previous one.
Yeah.
It was really good.
So I'll be looking into that too. So that carries into me watching Sarah Polley, who's one of my favorite directors ever.
I love her.
She's amazing. She did a film recently called Stories We Tell.
Oh my God, I love that.
So, to sum it up quickly for you, Stories We Tell is about her discovering who she is or who her father is. That's the short of it. For years, journalists knew who her father was, but she asked them not to say it because she was not ready to tell that story. So I respect Canadian journalists even more so because they kept it from the public. They knew and they respected her wishes, which is great. But there's a long story tradition in her family where people make jokes saying, so-and-so, Michael Polley is not your father. Do you know who your father is? And that's kind of a weird thing to say to your sister. But over time, she began to take this seriously and question who her father was. And I'm not going to spoil it for you because you probably wouldn't know who he was anyways. But the journey to discovering this is amazing.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's funny. And it's tearing. And the way that the film was made, she did a lot of recreations. It got to the point where I thought some of the clips they were showing in the film were actually home movies, but she took the time to recreate. She cast someone who looks just like her mother and her father, and just, I thought this was stock footage. I thought that her mother and friends had cameras with them when they were, and they didn't. Just Sarah recreated all these moments, and that to me was impressive. So this is a different kind of documentary. This one is, I mean, I'll go back. Wild, Wild Country, like Ron said, they had cameras everywhere. And in this story, they didn't have cameras, but Sarah recreated everything. So tops off for that. And it's very good.
It's really, really good. I watched it a few years ago. You watched it on Amazon and YouTube, and actually, Vudu looks like it has it.
Yes.
But where did you watch it on?
I watched it on Netflix. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Watch it where it's free if it's available.
No,
I agree.
definitely.
Unfortunately, Vudu is not free. Even though they have the best streaming.
Brighton Library has it, by the way, FYI, if you want to grab it.
I really love that film, so I definitely agree. Watch that one.
That's my thought. So 2 documentaries, 2 must-watches.
Cool.
Ron, how about you?
I've been all over the place these last couple weeks with stuff I've been watching. Me and my wife went out and saw Super Troopers 2 just because I needed a laugh, and I loved the first Super Troopers. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. I mean, I don't need to explain it. It's just stupid comedy. It's like off the wall weirdo stuff. And as is common with Jay, and I'm just going to call them the Broken Lizard Gang, because every time they make a film, when they're at their best is when they're improvising. And the stuff that's scripted is not good. But as par for the course, the best stuff in Super Troopers 2 was, the stuff where they take over the Canadian Mounties. I mean, I'm not going to go into depth as to this film. It's just, it was a good laugh. It wasn't very great. It's not, I probably wouldn't even put this at a passing grade in terms of like watchability. It's something that if you want a good laugh and you want to sit home and just chill out.
What if you have not seen Super Troopers 1?
Then you won't get anything in Super Troopers 2.
Okay, and if anybody just listened to the last 2 minutes and we're completely lost, you're not alone.
It's okay.
That's okay. I'm glad that
it
you
just got
a couple
Super
chuckles.
Troopers 1 has some of the funniest improvisational bits in it, and Super Troopers 2 doesn't.
I've actually heard some good stuff about Super Troopers 1.
Yeah, and so yeah, I'm not, like I said, you want to know more about it, go watch the trailer. That gives you about everything you need to know about the movie. I also went out and saw Infinity War now twice.
Jason said, "Oh my gosh, he's watching it right now again."
Yeah. So I went out opening night,
How was that?
and probably one of the best crowds I've ever been into. They were digging it, like full on cheering, screaming, yelling.
Can I ask where you went?
That was Cinemark opening night.
Cool.
And Cinemark is, to me, or locally, it's the best theater to go to, especially if you want a good opening night for fan night.
Are you
Because
talking about Tinseltown?
yes,
Okay, cool.
Cinemark, Tinseltown,
That's what
IMAX.
we love.
And a lot of people tend to get dressed up and go there. And,
Seriously?
yeah, I turned behind and there was a dude wearing a Star-Lord's jacket. I'm like, and I'm not into leather jackets, but I turned around, I'm like,
That's cool.
damn, that looks nice. And I'm like,
My God.
if I could lose like 40 pounds,
You're
would
on
be
your way.
tempted to, like, I always wanted Wolverine's jacket.
Oh yeah.
But now that I saw like this jacket in person, I'm like, oh, it looks really nice. Anyways, but the crowd was really into it, which made the thematics of what happened in the film even more hit home. The things that I didn't get watching the second time. Infinity War, if you have no clue what it is right now, don't bother. I mean, I'm not going to put any major spoilers here, but there's 19 films over the last 10 years that have gone into setting up what happens in this one major film. And I have so many major feelings that one of the things I'd like to do in the future is hopefully set up a round table where we can actually fully discuss these a little bit more, because I think it alone will take up 2 hours of me talking. But to see the threads from each of those films kind of be hit home throughout this film was good for me.
Did you feel like the audience liked it? I mean, do you feel like everybody enjoyed it?
It hit in a way that I don't think any of the previous movies hit.
That's good.
As I mentioned, like you can't say too much without giving too much away. But everybody's waiting for the end credit scene. The stuff that come on right after the last. You see the banner come up, Avengers Infinity War. Everybody's waiting for something there, and the whole theater is just quiet. And the lady next to me, you hear her sobbing, and I'm just like,
Oh,
this is different. And I don't know, but
are you saying to wait or not wait?
Oh hell, go see it.
No, I mean wait to the end.
You should always wait to the end.
If this is the part that gets me, if you've been watching any Marvel movies,
I know that. I know.
always wait till the lights come up. When the lights come up at the end, then you can walk out of the theater.
Right.
Because typically there's at least two, or there's always at least one.
Our X-Men.
I'm just talking about the stuff that are in the direct Marvel universe.
Okay, so that's
Well, I stay and watch credits anyway, so I
know you do.
Yeah.
Cool.
I just lost my train of thought here.
I'll come back.
Go see it. Go see it twice.
Oh.
Did you go see it both times at the same theater, or did you go somewhere else?
No, we went to Regal for the second time.
Okay.
Because Cinemark was completely sold out because we were trying to get in for the morning so we could get in here and do the show.
Oh, and how old do you think you have to be to see it?
I don't think it's a question of how old. I think it's more of a question of, do you understand what's happened in all the previous movies?
How violent is it?
I mean, you don't see blood and gore, but people
Die.
I mean, I can say that much. I mean, that's not a secret. That's been put out there for the last 2 years that, hey, people are going to die in this movie.
Right.
You know, heroes are going to die. Well, guess what? They die.
Okay.
But as with like most of the Marvel, like you don't see like major death, but there are a couple like you know, somebody getting their neck snapped, you know, somebody getting stabbed. But you're not having like, it's not Quentin Tarantino level of gore.
Okay. Got it.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
So
I'm glad you
go
enjoyed
into the movie prepared and enjoy it.
Cool.
You know, do your homework, watch the films. You know, there's something I literally, you know, we had this discussion beforehand with Anthony. I mean, there is literally something from each film that threads back to this film, and they're all hit upon. And if you haven't watched each one of the series, yeah, you can skip movies, but you're going to miss thematic plots that are wrapped up in here. And one of the criticisms I heard on Friday watching one of the wrap-ups from somebody was like, oh, there was no backstory, you didn't have any character development on. I'm like, you know what? There's been 19 films worth of backstory. This movie just, I mean, right out of the gate, it's into everything. And to me, this is Thanos' film, the big bad villain. This is his film. Everybody else is a supporting character. And Valerie's shaking her because she doesn't know who he is. He's the big purple dude that's made his appearance a couple times.
That's Roland.
Yeah, I don't remember which ones that you've seen so far.
But what? Give me something he's been in.
Have you?
He was at the end of the Avengers end credits. He was in what was the other one with Loki? Yeah.
Wasn't he in the Guardians of the Galaxy? He was in that.
Yeah, the Guardians.
He was in the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
First Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Floating around in a chair, looking ominous.
Is he big?
Yeah. He's the big mad Titan, but
From Titan.
he's the destroyer of everything.
Well, okay, so there's this thing that was at the end of the movie where Wonder Woman is introduced.
Wonder Woman, you mean?
Well, she was introduced. It was somebody else's movie. It was the two boys fighting. And
Batman versus Superman.
Batman versus Superman.
And there's this thing that they're fighting against. They have to come together and fight.
Yeah.
What is that?
Infinity
that was
Box.
Doomsday.
Okay, so that's not him.
Different universe.
No, different universe.
Damn. He was scary.
See,
That was DC.
DC has Infinity Boxes. They have
Oh, right.
boxes.
Lo
The name's
siento.
dropping me.
Sorry. Okay.
All good.
Moving on.
So yeah, go see it. Highly recommend it. Do your homework. And then
You should do your homework. It's important.
I know, it's cute.
But yeah, that
No.
statement the guy said, that's totally ignorant and totally like, have you even been, where have you been the last? Why
Don't
would-
say ignorant. Just read the.
No, but
this is
saying there's
for
no ben-
fans. This is for fans. This is which there are many.
But why would you even say that? That's just.
but the whole
Oh, you mean saying that there's no backstory?
in general, all
because
the
he hasn't seen them.
in general, all the Marvel movies have been set up to be extensions of themselves.
Right.
The story never ends with just one.
Right. I have figured that out.
And for the person to come along and like point out that like there was no character development, it's like, no,
That's ridiculous.
you know,
Right.
it's like, no, you had like 3 Captain America films. You had the Captain America and Bucky thing play out over 3 major films. And
Yeah.
it was destructive to what the core of the Avengers was. And that all played out in this film. You know,
People, you need to cram. You need to cram big time.
yeah, I'm not going to say skip anything. I'm going to say if you really want the full experience, invest yourself in the 19 films. You know, it's a lot of investment, but at the same time, it's been out for 10 years.
I think I'm going to drop
This
the money
movie's
for the
going to
whole
be out
collection.
for a while, so you're going to have some time. Okay, cool.
So yeah, that wraps up.
I'll be seeing it soon. Don't worry. We'll talk about it soon.
Yeah, and we'll see if I can get a round table going here with a couple of superhero people and maybe start up something separate from this so we don't drag this down with superhero talk all the time. But
She's going to be converted. Don't worry. She'll get it. She will come along.
But there's things outside of like the consequences of some of those deaths that happen in this. Like I want to talk about those not only in the film and the Marvel sense, but also in like the realistic Hollywood sense, like contractual obligations and who owns what characters and how that plays an impact as to what's going forward.
You definitely need a round table.
And that's something that like, you know, everybody's like, oh, these are their big money makers. They, you know, they're not going to kill them permanently. I was like, well, guess what? They could, and they could get along with it and find a way to survive with it because they have a wealth of characters to draw from. So
To be continued.
To be continued.
And it will.
And with that magic note, we're going to go take a short break, and we will be right back. Hey, for you, the listeners of the Cultural Stew podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Audible, tell me about it.
Because I am the greatest fan in here. I don't know. I think I just have a little bit more time. I listen to it every day. But I think a lot of people do. I'm just going to say
I love Audible. I listen to it when I can. My biggest issue is it's always battling for space between whatever soundtrack I'm listening to, whatever podcast I'm listening to, and then trying to find a spot for a 20-hour book in the middle.
I have an issue with like listening to several books at the same time. Plus, they have channels that you can get, and they have channels for fiction. I mean, and they have a lot of original material that they do, which is really cool. So
there's one that I picked up a couple months ago that I'm still haven't making my way through. It was on the recommendation list. Is Spoonbenders, about a family of like.
Oh yeah, I heard about Spoonbenders.
Yeah. Well, this sucks. I can't remember what it's about.
That's okay.
It's different generations of a family that all have the same gift, and it's telling their.
I think that's
different. But it's
cool.
narrated very well, and it's very attentive. But it's one of those like I've listened to it before I'm going to sleep and going to bed, so I only get about half an hour at a time of listening to it.
Sure.
Whereas like with something like Ready Player One, I was so invested in it overall.
I am, and I'm listening to the Alice Network. My friend Leslie gives me very good recommendations. She's also the Beartown. So the Alice Network is from Kate Quinn. She writes about it's about I just started, so I'm partly through, and so far it's about a pregnant girl in France during World War I in search for her cousin, who everyone has said is dead, and she does not believe that. So she breaks off from her mother, who is taking her out of the country to get rid of their problem, which she does not see as an issue. But she gets recruited as a spy. And there we go. And it's called the Alice Network. It moves along really well. I like the narrator really well. So far, I'm really enjoying it. So it's hard for me to find a book that wants me to like get up, start listening. I listen at bedtime, and So yeah, I would definitely recommend that.
Where can we find that?
You can find it at audibletrial.com/culturalstew. Again, it is audibletrial.com/culturalstew. Go try it out. You have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
Everything to gain. I'm telling you, I know that there are those who love the book in their hands and the smell of the pages, and I get it, and I do too. But there is also something about listening to somebody tell their story, an autobiography by the person who it's about. And also, it's great for kids. It's great for kids when they're going to bed. And the stories, I read stories, but they also listen to their headphones in the car. In the car trips, listening to family books makes the car trips go a lot quicker. So I recommend.
Once again, that's audibletrial.com/culturalstewnet. Go there, get your free audiobook. Get 1 month free, 30 days, free audiobook. Go for it. And welcome back. Today's Stew and Media of the Week is going to bring us the films of Quentin Tarantino. Anthony, give us a little about the background of Quentin Tarantino.
So let's see here. Quentin Tarantino started off working in a video store, like a Blockbuster, but I don't think it was a Blockbuster, but we're going to call it something like that. A video chain where he uses knowledge of films to help customers pick out movies. So I kind of miss that with myself, going to Blockbuster and stores like that and getting knowledge that way. But yeah, so at the same time, he was working on his script for Reservoir Dogs, and eventually that would be made. And that was Oliver Stone, who I think directed that film. And ever since then, he's been... Is it Oliver Stone? Or...
That directed what? Reservoir Dogs?
No, sorry, Natural Born Killers.
Oh.
Sorry, my brain. So, brain scattered. But, yeah, that look. So, but yeah. So, Quentin's been in the limelight since, I think, Reservoir Dogs showed his ability as a director and writer. And he's been doing things ever since. He has 2 Oscars, writing Oscars for Ron.
He won it for...
I know Django Unchained is his latest one.
Django Unchained and Pulp Fiction.
And Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction is the one that really kind of just put him on the map. Reservoir Dogs was kind of unknown, unless you were in a very certain group of people. Pulp Fiction was really... This was Miramax in its, like, you know, full-on marketing mode of bringing these little independent films
to the limelight.
And I think it was probably the first film I can actually remember from Miramax Films. And they really pushed it. And it was just like, who is this guy with this really peculiar backwards writing style? You know, telling the story of basically from all chopped up and backwards and inside out, and really delivering a pretty powerful film for his first outing that kind of put him on his map.
And he also brought John Travolta. That's the thing about Quentin, I'm realizing. He brings a lot of people who have been kind of past stars, brings them back. So he brought Robert Forster and Jackie Brown. He brought John Travolta back from the 70s and 80s films. So
she's having, or not, she's having a baby. Look Who's Talking was his last.
Christy? Ellie?
Look Who's Talking, John Travolta. That was...
Yeah, 80s. Yeah. Sorry, my brain. Bleh.
No, it's fine. It's cool.
But yeah, so Quentin's been doing things since then, and...
I mean, just going down the rundown of his films, we got Reservoir Dogs was number 1, followed up with...
Pulp Fiction,
which was then followed up by...
Oh, actually, we are wrong, by the way. Reservoir Dogs is not number 1. Because it's my movie that I'm talking about is True Romance.
Well, it wasn't his movie. He made a short film that became the basis of True Romance. His first full-on film directing was Reservoir Dogs.
Okay, well, you said anything, so I went by written by. You said anything by Quentin Tarantino. I went with written by. So I did True Romance. That's the movie I watched that I hadn't seen.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Thank you. Moving on.
So, sticking with his main filmography, the things that he was labeled as director, we got Reservoir Dogs, we got Pulp Fiction, followed that up with Jackie Brown. Then you got Kill Bill, volumes 1 and 2. And then there was Death Proof, which was part of the Grindhouse saga with Rodriguez. Yeah. Robert Rodriguez.
Sorry, I keep thinking, so easy.
And then that followed up with one of my favorite films of his, which was Inglourious Bastards, then Django Unchained, then The Hateful Eight, and his upcoming one is going to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And that was the one I kind of talked about last week that has about Charles Manson and Sharon Tate murders.
He has like a Kill Bill Volume 3 announced.
Really?
Yeah. And From Dusk Till Dawn, the series, I don't know. I watched the Dusk Till Dawn a long time ago.
George Clooney.
I don't know if anybody watched that one. But
I watched it with my dad.
He's in that.
He's in it. Yeah.
4 rooms. Skip it.
It's a good piece of filmmaking. It's good for people to see and what not to do and what to do. It's like a student film.
It was really interesting. I was trying to figure out which movie to watch because I've seen a lot of them, but there was a few that I hadn't seen. So Jackie Brown I had not seen, and Hateful Eight I had not seen, and True Romance I had not seen, and Grindhouse.
I couldn't get into Jackie Brown.
No,
I don't know why. It just never, like, it was one of those, I watched 15 minutes of it. I'm like,
thank you.
Watch another 15 minutes of it.
I watched 15 minutes of it and was done. I should have given it longer, maybe. Bridget Fonda, the whole feet thing and the whole.
That's Quentin's
The
thing.
guy
The foot
loves
fetish.
feet.
He's a foot fetish.
He seriously does.
He said it does.
I know, but he makes gross comments to people. God, sorry. Anyway,
Part of, I think, where Quentin comes from, I don't know the guy personally, but
Really?
he definitely has his grasp and foothold in the 70s and 80s.
nice pun.
B schlock, unintentional. The B schlock fest, that's why he did Grindhouse. Those kind of films, those B slate films that are all for shock and awe. Things that, Pulp Fiction. How many times did Samuel L. Jackson utter motherfucker in that movie and put Samuel L. Jackson on the map for nearly everybody for the next generation?
Okay, so I had.
Because at the same time he did Pulp Fiction, he was filming Jurassic Park.
Which was. The weird thing is that.
What?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, right. Sorry, I had a moment. Yeah, Jurassic Park.
That's okay. True Romance.
Hold on to your butts. That was
Right.
Samuel L.
Yes,
Jackson.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I had to go back.
He goes very under the radar in that movie.
I've
Sorry.
watched Pulp Fiction a few times in my life. When it came out, I was a freshman in college. And then I ended up getting, in college, at KU, University of Kansas, they used to have these poster, you can get all these posters for a week, right? You go in and I got a huge poster of Sam Jackson to put into my dorm room. And then
Afro Sam.
it was awesome. It was at Liberty Hall, which anybody in Lawrence knows. It's kind of like the Little here. It was Liberty Hall for, 9 months or something. I think I took 2 different boyfriends to it. So, when I watched True Romance, I thought it was very interesting that you could tell that he was writing them so close together because he used so many of the same stuff. It had the same rhythm. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you mean.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you. The rhythm of his writing, the rhythm of the conversation, the way he speaks about burgers, the way he talks about the way he has her beat to a complete pulp, but she manages to come back from it. True Romance as Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette in it. Basically, they're the main ones. I love Christian Slater. So I dug this movie. I had a great time. That sounds sick, I guess, because of what happens. It's sad. It didn't get me. But I will say that, Vincent is one of the names he used. And there's this bizarre, I'm just going to tell you this because it's so strange. True Romance has a link. First of all, it has a link to the first movie. No, Reservoir Dogs is next, I guess. So Reservoir Dogs says Mr. Blonde, a.k.a. Vic Vega, who is brother to Pulp Fiction's Vincent Vega. Those two are connected, which I think is bizarre. And in True Romance, he has, he's talking about, not in True Romance, sorry, kiddies, but there's a lot of here that Reservoir Dogs, he's talking about the fact that he was kind of dealing with this girl named Alabama, and it's the same chick. has put so many of his movies together. True Romance has a connection to Inglourious Bastards, Pulp Fiction.
I think he's come out and said that everything is, they're all connected. They're all in the same.
They're all in the same
cinematic
universe. And am I talking too much? People just break in. So Pulp Fiction.
We like when you talk.
Thank you.
You don't talk enough.
I talk plenty. Shush it. Pulp Fiction, the coolest thing. We also used Square. He did the Square thing where she uses her finger to do square. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm trying to
Don't
get that in my
be
head.
a square.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. But the other chick does it in True Romance. Also in Pulp Fiction, when they go out to dinner, Mia and Vince. So we have, give me a name, please. John Travolta and Uma going out to dinner. She talks about her Fox Force 5, the show that she was on. And she describes the 5 women that are in the show. She basically describes every single woman in Kill Bill. And the one that she says that she is exactly the one that she plays
In Kill Bill.
in Kill Bill. The other thing, okay, I'm just going to keep rambling until somebody breaks in here. The other thing I noticed when I tried to watch The Hateful Eight, I did not make it through. I made it through a half of it.
For me, Hateful Eight was more about filmmaking.
It was beautiful.
It was gorgeous and
Gorgeous.
beautiful.
It
and
was.
I am a huge Western fan, so I stuck throughout the whole thing.
Did you notice anything about the colors in that movie?
Yeah, I mean, what did he go with? Technicolor?
Well,
It was
the
very
certain
ripped
two
out of-
colors. I just find it fascinating that I have been watching his movies for this long, looking at his movie posters for this long.
The red and yellow?
The red and yellow.
Yeah.
When he has his, Samuel Jackson's inside of his coat in Hateful Eight is yellow, and they have a yellow chair, and then the stagecoach is red. And then you go to Inglourious Bastards, and Brad Pitt's gloves are orange, or not orange, sorry, they're yellow. And you have Pulp Fiction where you have the red and yellow. Every single one of his movie posters are red and yellow. Plus, he likes black and white.
Well, he has a huge thing for Westerns, and especially Westerns, you have black and white. That designates
Right.
who's got the white hat, who's got the black hat, designates your villains. And I think he likes playing with that. Like, he gives you the answers you're looking for, but are you actually looking for them? And but I love it. I love his use of yellow, though. I love like Kill Bill's full-on a yellow leather costume that Uma wears.
Yeah. And then what's his bucket? Christoph Waltz, when he asks if he can smoke his pipe, and he brings out this big yellow pipe. And, I kept saying, oh my gosh, look at that. And Jason's saying, I would never have noticed this. Jason has never seen Inglourious Bastards. So I said, I just started watching the first 10, 20 minutes of each movie this morning. And he said, I'll tell you what, this is not a good way. If you want to look at the world in a good way, this is not, watching a Quentin Tarantino movie to start out your day is not.
no.
Definitely
You're not going to look at the world in a good place. I'm not in a good place. This is not going to put me in a good place today, which is true.
Quentin Tarantino's films are very indulgent.
They are indulgent. They are violent toward women. But they also have women heroes.
It's a very fine line that he rides there between making them out to be heroes and
beating the shit out of them.
not beating the shit.
He does.
Is it misogynistic? I'm
What's
the
the word
word's
you're looking
escaping for me.
Describe it.
Misogynistic, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the treatment of women in general, like, yeah, you emasculate them as the heroes, but you also
God, make them go through hell.
go through hell as the victims. And
Victimize.
Like, beat them up, rape them. I mean, going through all that horrible stuff. I mean, it's just like everything, and you're sitting there just cringing. It's hard to watch. I mean, I guess you want, in Kill Bill, you want her to get vengeance It's just the fact that this woman had to go through all this stuff while she is in a coma. And what's his name? Chuck, who comes in and brings people in to have sex with people in coma. I'm Chuck and like to fuck. He's got it on his knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
Buck? I think it's Buck. Anyway, I find it very interesting that just even recently all this stuff's coming out about the car that she's in, and in Kill Bill 1, 2.
Wasn't there like legal reasons why she couldn't say anything, or she was just keeping quiet about it? Or...
Yeah, legally she couldn't, and she alluded to something, and he didn't realize that she wasn't able to release the footage or talk about it, and he went to the studio to have them release it, or he released his cut version of it so that it was out there.
Although he did put her in a car that he knew was not working properly. He did do that.
Right.
And
it's a hard line. I'm not defending Quentin.
Don't.
At all. No, I'm not. What I'm going to say is that there were things that were done during the filmmaking process that I think were not thought out well, that were very spur of the moment things. There is the story from Inglourious Basterds where they choked Diane Kruger in one scene, and it was famous. It was Quentin Tarantino's hands choking her.
Didn't you just say it was her idea?
Yeah.
She had no idea that she was getting into a car.
She did. Actually.
No, but I'm saying
she did not know that it was not a car that was in working condition, and that she was going to get into a car accident that was going to
I heard that she knew there was something wrong with the car. She wasn't comfortable with it, but there was.
And he kept saying, "It's safe. It's straight. It's straight. It's safe," and it messed her up for the rest of her life. Like her neck, her knee. I mean, I am not a fan, but he has said that he's very sorry. It's one of the worst decisions he's ever made. Sorry.
Yeah, and no, I'm not defending him on that. I was just going to state that he was the one that pushed for the release of the footage so that it did come out, so that her story wasn't just a story. It was like, no, this really happened, and he took responsibility for it instead of hiding behind it, because everybody knew that that footage was there, but who put it out there?
I didn't know that part. Did you see the footage?
I did.
Side by side.
And I didn't realize it. I mean, even looking at it, I didn't realize it caused that much of a accident, because in watching it didn't look like that bad of an accident. But things happen, and it was not a good filmmaking situation to be in, and it definitely didn't make the right decisions in doing that filmmaking. And I think that is something that happens in Hollywood a lot, but hopefully it leads to changes that protect people from those kind of environments.
I think it reminded me of The Exorcist when the mother, give me her name, please, somebody.
I haven't seen it in a long time, so I can't help you.
Oh my gosh. Ellen Burstyn goes into the room and he doesn't tell her, the director doesn't tell her.
That you're about to get thrown up on?
No. Oh. The director, am I saying right? Is it William Friedkin?
I don't know.
It doesn't seem right to me. But anyway.
No investment in that
movie.
He
threw no investment. Oh, right. This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Keep going.
He was throwing stuff at her. He had no idea that she didn't know it was coming. There are a couple things that she gets smacked with, furniture and stuff. If you get the DVD, I actually had to get it online and overseas to get the director's cut and the commentary. She comes in and she tells about all the stuff that he did to her to get these reactions. And I think that these directors go too far to get these natural reactions. Now, some characters and some actors want that to get the natural reaction.
Yeah, and there's a lot between the director and actor relationship, that's very... You got to have an established way of working with somebody before you can cross that line. You know, if you have an actor that says, hey, this is what you need to do if you want that shot, and the director needs to respect that space. It's when that director crosses that space without realizing where that line is with that actor because they haven't talked about it. So, like, I think in the situation with Diane Kruger, that space was talked about, but with the Uma Thurman incident, I don't think it was. And I think that's a difference of Kill Bill was made, was that 10 years? No, a little less than 10 years between the two. So 6 years in between the filming of the two that, you know, maybe he realized, you know, where he needed to be and became a worse director. I don't know.
If you want to go with if you've never watched a Quentin Tarantino movie and you want to ease into it, I would say that I know it's not directed by him. I understand that, but he wrote it. And it's a good introduction to his writing, which I think is very important. Quentin's writing is probably one of the reasons why I like him more than his directing. You know, he has some great shots, but his writing is what I like him for. So, True Romance, I enjoy the writing of it. But he always throws in movies. The man loves movies.
For me, if I was to pick all of them of where I would go as something, I would say use this as an introduction to Quentin. I would skip Pulp Fiction altogether, even though it's a good movie on its own right. I would give somebody Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, I would too.
Because if you want to watch Nazis get beat up, that's the movie to do it. I have no problem watching the Nazis get their ass kicked during that.
I don't either. I think it's a great movie.
So it took out a little bit of that tension between like the women. I mean, yeah, there's the women incident in that, but Diane Kruger is also very empowered after that moment. But I think I have many favorite moments of that film, and watching Brad Pitt be a really cuckoo commander of they call it the Jew. They're basically Nazi killing Jews that work for the American army. But for me, that's my movie of Quentin's that I enjoy the most is Inglourious Bastards. The other ones, Kill Bill, I enjoy for the fighting sequences.
He likes kung fu, that's for certain.
Yeah, and you know, funny enough, you know, most of the Western genre comes from samurai movies, and so there's the very fine line between bouncing back and forth between the Western films and the samurai movies that play through all of his stuff.
What did you watch anything that you hadn't seen?
I hadn't seen Inglourious Bastards, so yeah, I had read it for Oscar time, but I'd never seen it. And then a friend of mine said, "Hey, you should watch it because there's film stuff in it, like there's projection stuff." And my friend knows I'm into that. Yeah, and the nitrate film, which I know all about, which Eastman has some in the basement, and it makes me laugh uncomfortably. But yeah, so I watched that and I liked it a lot actually. So now that's my number one Quentin film. And I should let you guys know, I'm not a huge Quentin fan. I grew up in a time where everyone was trying to copy his writing style, which I wasn't one of them. I was more of a Shane Black kind of writer emulator. So having people say, "Oh, well, Quentin's writing is awesome," and it's just, you know, great. He's a good storyteller. I'll give him that. But I never really respected him as a writer. So I guess Jackie Brown and Inglourious they're not your typical Quentin films. They don't sound like his usual bloody mess. I mean, his voice is still there. His voice is there, but
it's true.
Doesn't feel like it is.
Feel differently.
So
I wouldn't know about Jackie Brown.
But Inglourious Bastards, I think, is my number one Quentin, and followed by Jackie Brown. And I liked Inglourious because it was a period film. It was a war film. And honestly, truth be told also, it was between that film and watching the Monuments Men, which had Brad's best friend, George Clooney, in it, and a whole bunch of other characters like John Goodman. And the film flopped, and I'm kind of glad it did because I'm still working on my version of that story. But going back to this Inglourious has a story to tell. And even though it reminded me of Clerks with the whole chapters moments in it,
yes,
it still flowed in a way where it was natural. Where I felt Clerks chapters were hiding the fact that he couldn't tell a story cohesively together, fluidly, without breaking it off. But that's a different story too.
I feel like we're not even going into what these movies are.
So, Inglorious Bastards is about a
commentary on it.
ragtag group of soldiers who are deciding, by Brad Pitt leads this team of ragtag Jewish men to seek revenge on the Nazis. And their goal is to scalp 100 Nazis each.
I one of my favorite parts of Inglourious Bastards is not even like what the movie is about, but who it introduced to me to. Christopher Waltz.
Yes.
I mean,
let's get to that.
One of my favorite actors, and he played the role perfectly.
That's the reason why I wanted to see it too. Sorry, was because he was in Bond, and I saw him in Spectra.
The last one, Spectre, I think. It was.
So I saw him in that. I said, "Wow, I should watch Bastards," because he was in that. So I went backwards. But Christopher's a great actor. I think he has a lot of range, and he surprised me.
I can't tell you anything he was in before that.
Well, he's been hiding.
Either.
He's been hiding. Go ahead.
When I saw him, I kept telling Jason, because he kept saying, "I can't watch this right now. I can't get invested. I can't watch this right now." So I pushed play.
And he's so...
I pushed play, but man...
He's such an...
Oh, my God. Oh, that first scene when he comes in...
Just
he's
so happy and just so, like, straightforward.
And
then you just see the long arm going out the window and shoots the girl dead. And it was just like...
No, he doesn't.
He
doesn't shoot her dead,
dude.
Dude. But he didn't. Yeah. And that's obviously why the whole movie happened. Just kidding.
Yeah. Michael was good in it too. I like Michael Fassbender was in the film, and the little bit he was in the film, he sold his part very well. And it's funny to know that he speaks German first, English second. So speaking German for him was quite natural. His parents were in Germany when he was born, and so he learned the German language. He's fluent in it, which you can kind of tell. And there's a lot of, for being a Quentin film, this was a lot of foreign dialogue and not a lot of English, which was impressive. So for me, again, like I said, it was different because it felt like I was watching a foreign film by Tarantino. Mm-hmm. So a lot of French, which I like a lot. A lot of translation subtitles, they're not correct 100%. But that's not his fault. That's Netflix's fault. But yeah, I just think everything was, honestly, I could have watched the whole film about the rejection of seeking revenge by itself. That could have been a movie all by itself. But Brad Pitt's ragtag group mixing in that was funny too. And it's like, and as we were talking earlier, this is an alternate history kind of fiction. So this is what if Hitler and Goring and Goebbels were all in the same room together and exploded with that.
And Mike Myers.
Mike Myers, yeah.
Mike.
Sorry.
I mean, so...
Yeah, I completely forget, like, Mike Myers is in this movie.
Christoph Waltz won. I mean, he's...
Quentin's gotten him 2 Oscars.
Two Oscars, one for English Bastards and one for Django. So, by actor and supporting, both are supporting, obviously. But
he's been in 3 of his movies, too, because he was in Hateful Eight as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the big old crazy beard.
Right. He was?
Yeah.
Did I meet him?
We meet everyone once.
He's one of the 8? Is he?
No, never mind. I'm thinking of somebody else.
I got to the part, Hateful Eight, as far as I can tell, is about a man who is taking a girl to go be hung. And they end up in a blizzard. They seek shelter in this, what do you call that?
It's kind of like a hostel slash inn slash station.
Full of some questionable people. And he picks up, I mean, it's interesting. So you have to spend time with these 8 people and what happens. I got to the point.
And you think they're all just strangers at the beginning, and
yeah,
as it just unravels and they realize that all of them were sent to kill the same person.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. Jackie Brown, I couldn't get it. Maybe if I skip the first part, it just grossed me out. I just couldn't. I don't need a movie. The first frickin' scene is women in bikinis shooting guns.
That's Quentin for you.
I hated it. I hated it. I hated seeing her little toes, Bridget Fonda's toes with all the little rings on them practically touching, Robert De Niro's glass, which he couldn't handle either.
I only watched that film from Michael Keaton and Robert Forster.
Should I just skip forward? Can I skip
You
forward?
could. I mean, it's a slow burn, so you could.
I can't really. I just not that interested in that movie. But I have seen almost everything else. Grindhouse. What did he do with that one?
It was a director.
It was Death Proof. It was like a dual feature thing with him and Robert Rodriguez. So it was very much that was the epitome
Throwback.
of the B movie throwback.
How many women got
I haven't seen that. I wouldn't know.
mangled in that movie?
I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure. I think the one woman like beats the living daylights and overcomes in that.
Okay.
She gets beat. The crap gets beat out of her.
That's one of his things.
Violence. Yes, it is.
Violence and people coming back. I mean, do I like the fact that he has Kill Bill and Her Vengeance? Yes. It's hard to watch, but I understand. Django Unchained, again, here we go. I haven't seen that one in a couple of years.
My mom has this thing where she says that he takes steps forward for female actors and performers and then steps back. So it's like he does this lurch forward, then kind of steps back a little bit. So it's like a constant thing, which is why my mom doesn't really get into his films all that much, because it's the same thing. The female are empowered, then like destroyed or obliterated, and it messes with her and she doesn't like it.
I took my mother to see Pulp Fiction. I don't think she will ever forgive me. And I had my niece watch Pulp Fiction. That did not end well. When the ending, when we had to bring out the GIMP, she was done. Done. So, some people just can't. He is definitely for a certain type of movie watcher, and he's definitely, you hate him. I mean, do people like kind of, he's okay? Really? If they watch one of his movies, are they like, I hated this movie because it was horrible?
I don't ever want to get into his head. No, he's not a person.
No.
I don't think I'd enjoy a one-to-one conversation with the man.
You don't want to do a Vulcan meld on his head? That wouldn't be pleasant for you.
You only have 2 more movies, he says.
Please, everyone says that.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see, because like I said, the 2 that he was semi-attached to was Star Trek. But if Star Trek just got another director, then we don't have to see Star Trek. But that would have never have been in his universe anyway. So I don't know how that would have worked out if he was only doing 10.
Like maybe written, directed by Tarantino.
I don't know. And
He
then
said that
the other one, the Sharon Tate, Charles Manson film, is going to be
awful.
I don't know.
I mean, awful meaning, you know what I mean?
It's going to be bloody. It's going to be gory. I mean,
you're going to expect blood and gore. You can't not watch it. But I have to say,
we probably will.
I have to say, Pulp Fiction. There's movies. I loved that movie, man, when it came out. I don't know why. I was also 18 years old. And when he sneezed, what happened? And that's when he blows the guy's head off in the car. What happened? Did he sneeze? Something happened where he did something and he just shoots the gun by accident.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. There's just, his storytelling is very unique. Not for everyone. And I don't know what to even say except for the fact that I personally had a hard time thinking about doing this podcast. The more I read, as of late, it was hard for me to come in and
I think
talk about it.
That's happened with a lot of people recently. It's like,
I'm
if you
so
leave
excited.
out their personal life, there's many people that I've really appreciated as actors.
I know.
But as things with their personal life have come out over the last 6 months, mostly, 6 months, 8 months, it's really reshaped, and it's kind of, it's disappointing because it really affects like how you can actually view these people's works beforehand, and it's trying to separate that out from that person. Like, I'll go right out and say, like, Kevin Spacey, it's hard.
we don't know where he is right now. He's like totally gone. But I would say that anybody who knows me well knows that I'm being hypocritical right now. Because post 1975, I love Woody Allen films. I own almost all of them. Don't love all of them, but I own almost all of them, and I am a Woody fan. But yet we have his scandal as well. So it's hard to. It's very, very, very hard.
Yeah, and you have, Quentin is publicly, or was it publicly, or it was a released tape of him talking in support of Roman Polanski.
I know.
I know. It's where do you separate the work from that? But if you keep encouraging the person,
Roman Polanski,
and if you keep encouraging the person and give them an opportunity to work, then you're encouraging them to act how they act and not holding any responsibility. And I'd rather live in a world where we actually hold people accountable and responsible for their actions, even if it means we lose people that are in their craft are very good.
Roman Polanski, raped a 14-year-old girl, and then he fled the country.
Right.
Yeah, and he's still in exile.
One of the books that my dad got me was Polanski, but this is before we found out. I still have it. But yeah, it's going
to be interesting because Polanski is going to be in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because he was Sharon Tate's husband.
Right. I know.
So yeah. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our discussion, Quentin. Before we go way
Did anybody watch a movie they hadn't seen?
Yeah, Inglourious Bastards.
What did you watch? Had you seen them all?
I've seen them all.
Did you watch anything this week?
Yeah, Infinity War.
This week? No. Oh, yeah, Infinity War I watched twice. No, the last was Inglourious Bastards, I think. Inglourious Bastards or Hateful Eight, one of the two.
It was weird because when you announced it, I got very excited about doing the Quentin Tarantino because I always liked his movies. And then the more I read, being a woman on this podcast made me feel sick having to sit and talk about him. And it was just weird.
Yeah. Well, it's not a behavior that should be encouraged.
Okay, well, that was an interesting way of putting it.
No, not your behavior.
No, his.
It's not behavior that should be encouraged or supported at all.
But a lot of people say, yeah, but you watch Woody Allen films so that you're giving him money. You must be in support of, you must believe him. A lot of people believe.
I'll come out right out and say I hate Woody Allen films, and
that's okay.
I can't even tell you the last one I actually watched.
Do you hate them too?
I don't hate them. I just don't like.
He was one I noticeably, after I learned about the
stuff,
Mia Farrow.
Yeah, Mia Farrow and the stepdaughter.
That situation, I just subconsciously kind of put Woody Allen in a I can't say a timeout. It's more like a permanent exile in my mind that his films mean nothing to me, and going forward, I have no interest in supporting that. And I think that's what's going to happen with Quentin and what's happened with Spacey is these people kind of get put in boxes. It's like how I can't go back and watch Cosby and feel good about what I'm seeing because behind what happened with Cosby is this monster that just
I know,
kind of like me and Dustin Hoffman a little bit.
But we spent what? We spent a majority of our youth and adult lives respecting this comedian who was
adored him.
Oh, kids can say the darndest things, and Jell-O and the Cosby Show
and Fat Albert, and
but now I can't. It's okay. No, I have no.
So I'm a horrible mother. Ready? Zoe came upon Cosby second season. She watched second and third season. Loved it. Jason walked in, kept looking at me. I just kept, no.
How do you explain that?
I'm not going to. And she watched
because
the show.
We grew up on it. It didn't affect us in a negative
She loved
way.
Lisa Bonet, that's who I loved. And man, when she found out that I named Lisa Bonet.
Do you know who she's married to?
Lenny Kravitz, dude. No, when she married Lenny Kravitz. Can I just talk?
Do you know who she's married to now?
Lisa Bonet?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Jason Momoa.
I don't know who Jason Momoa.
He's in Game of Thrones, Aquaman.
Oh, my God. Anyway, so Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz, who, oh, my God.
Keep talking.
They had a daughter named Zoe with umlauts, just saying. And then Zoe from West Wing. Zoe Bartlett, the president's daughter. Yes, I'm a West Wing nerd. That's who Zoe was named after. And when she loved Lisa Bonet. That was her favorite character. She loved her. And when I said you're named after her daughter, I thought her head was going to pop off. So, okay. He does not do anything for me.
I don't hate Woody Allen. I don't not like him. It's just nothing about his humor caught my attention ever. And I only watched Blue Jasmine because Bobby was in it. Kevin Alley. And
those aren't the movies to watch.
Sorry, I mean, I only watched it because he was and she were. I like Sally. I like Bobby. Otherwise, I would not have watched it.
Have you read anything else?
I don't have any interest in his style of humor.
Okay.
So, and
Dustin
by the way,
and I watch every one of his movies. Dustin that came here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But the thing of Blue Jasmine was I felt like a remake of Streetcar Named Desire.
I did not like I didn't like Blue Jasmine. I didn't go there.
It's a remake of modern update of.
I started watching Woody movies when I was 16. I went and picked out Husbands and Wives, I think, and watched it. And for some reason, I loved it. It was strange. I loved that 70s feel, and Husbands and Wives and Crimes and Misdemeanors and all that stuff. I just loved it's wacky. I don't know. But Midnight in Paris, I believe, is that?
That's, yeah.
Fantastic movie. Just gonna throw that out there. Anyway, separating the artist from their work.
I had a hard time with that with Charlie Chaplin, and I had a hard time with that with Dustin Hoffman, who made Tootsie, which is one of my favorite films of all time because
I don't know.
Dustin Hoffman.
No, I do, but I don't know what you're talking about.
There's a couple incidences in the past where a actress said that he was doing things he should have done. I'm not going to elaborate on it because they're still investigating that, but it's pretty much a lot of touchy and groping and things like that. And he's like almost 80 now, I think. So
I love Dustin Hoffman. And Dustin, by the way, Dustin that came in here, named after Dustin Hoffman.
See, and I love Tootsie for what it stands for what it means for women. Tootsie. And then it's hearing that he's doing this or did that, it's like, okay, I can't anymore. So
I know. It's hard.
It's definitely it's not done. I mean, it's still going to continue,
right? As
people gather the courage but
maybe people can stop.
Well, hell.
Well, no. I mean, the stories of people that have been in it for a long
time.
Ben
Affleck, that came out. I mean,
not a fan of him, but yeah.
No, I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. His stuff came out, and I mean, it just keeps happening. We don't even need to.
Well, the culture can't change without this happening.
Right.
So,
that's right.
And unfortunately,
so
Hollywood was always known for the casting couch.
Right.
So here's my dilemma as a woman on this podcast doing this thing about, Quentin Tarantino, and it was hard. It's hard.
But it needs to be talked about. I mean,
and I'm a film student, so it was hard for me to be like, okay, well, shit. So women out there listening to this, don't think I didn't struggle with it.
Well, it is hard. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and you're talking about it, which is a good thing. So you weren't afraid. You came on here, and you're speaking how you feel, and we value that. And I'm sure our listeners will too. So that's what we do.
Okay.
For Sparkers Controversy.
So that wraps up our Stew and Media of the Week. Hope you were entertained. We are whatever.
I think we're kind of like, ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. So next show is going to go to Tony with Topic and Media.
I think we're going to talk about gimmicks and how they work and don't work. And
you mean like infinity boxes?
No. More like things that people, Avatar's 3D. Was that necessary? I think in a way it kind of works for the film.
Oh my gosh.
I
Jason
stand by my
loved-
comments with Avatar. It was the only film that I've ever watched that has rightfully used 3D because it was filmed with 3D in mind.
And I agree.
Purpose.
I agree with that.
Jason loved that movie.
I have not seen another one, but I mean, we could talk about this later.
and then
but
So I'm going to recommend we watch Scanner Darkly. I mean, I've seen it several times. I have it on DVD, so
You said it works.
it does work. So I want to talk about how that works
Okay.
in that film. How I think that
Do you have a movie that doesn't work?
I'll find one.
Okay, please find one and then send it over.
I will do.
Because the gimmicks,
does Who Framed Roger Rabbit fall in this?
Oh my gosh, I
That's
totally
not a
was about to
gimmick.
say it.
That's not a gimmick. That actually was a test. Cool World, same thing.
I'm not saying it's I would still say it's a gimmick because it was a fusion of
Both styles.
false styles, but I think it worked
It does work.
because of the way the storyline played out.
Cool World worked too. It's a good film. Brad Pitt's a baby in that film, and
Cool. Okay, gimmicks meaning they use
Basing it.
different types of film throughout.
it's basically they're using different technology, or they're using something to draw you in. So whether it be an actor or technology, or
Jaws 3D.
horrible.
Gimmick. Awful.
See,
Gross.
we're going to talk about that next
Okay.
week,
Okay, that's what we're talking
Cool.
about.
That should be not next week. 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
So
2 weeks from now,
2
right?
weeks from now.
Saturday.
yeah, we don't need to talk about our schedule on that.
Or not. It could be any day.
It'll be out when it's out
right.
in about 2 weeks.
Ish. Okay.
Uh,
I have Kids Corner, correct?
Kids Corner, sure.
It's my turn.
I watched nothing in Kids Corner unless we consider Infinity War a kids movie.
Good.
So Kids Corner, I'm kind of getting my lead from my 8-year-old. Now, listen, Zoe, I'm just going to say she does watch shows that are slightly more advanced. Do I go and sit and watch, make sure that they're okay? Yes, I do. This one is on Netflix, and it's an original. It's called Alexa and Katie. And these are two girls that are going into high school. They are best friends. Alexa has cancer. She loses her hair, and Katie shaves her head in solidarity. This is just kind of, it is a great friendship. I do appreciate the way that they care about each other. I do appreciate the fact that they show a modern day girl friendship. I mean, I met my best friend around the time. Well, before 8th grade. Still best friends to this day, but it was this type of thing. And I love the way I did tear up with a couple of scenes with how they deal with cancer in her school. You will recognize Alexa's mother. She is Tiffany Amber Thiessen, which I was sitting there like,
Saved by the Bell.
yeah, but it took me a while because I didn't watch that show. I know, dude. I'm sorry, I just wasn't that.
Wow.
She was a freshman in college when it hit.
But they're saying this show is meant for anybody around that age group. But if you have a somewhat more intellectual 8-year-old, 10-year-old, I say it's okay. I would sit and watch it with them and explain a couple things. But Netflix, Alexa, and Katie watch it.
Cool.
So, I'm going to keep talking about Wild Wild Country because it's a good movie documentary series on Netflix. But the soundtrack is coming out in a couple weeks, so I'll be picking that up. So, that's by Brocker Way, the soundtrack composer. It's a nice, I mean, how would you describe the soundtrack? Kind of rural, but thumps. So, there's no Indian influence in the music. It's all like Western, Midwest.
Yeah,
fusion.
it's that very, I mean, you can't even say folky. Yeah.
It's like a modern Midwest vibe.
I'll put it this way. It didn't attract me enough to make me want to hear it, but it might be interesting to hear it outside of the show. It's not on Spotify yet, so I can't
Not
review
yet.
it.
Soon, though. But that's what I'll be listening to when it comes out. And that's what I look forward to seeing and hearing in the coming weeks.
I'm still stuck on Far Cry 5. It's become very addicting, so I need to like pry myself away from it now and come back to it in a couple weeks.
Like stuck on levels, or just like the point where you hide?
Just like
and
there's so
play?
much stuff to do.
Oh,
It's a long story, so there's a lot to do.
okay.
Police are coming to get us. Val, what's on your radar and queue this week?
Radar and Q. I think I was going to watch.
Man in the High Castle season 2.
I don't think so. I thought there was something I was going to watch, but I can't think of it. This week is a little busy for me. So, in my queue for this week, so we're going to get a little, I'm going to get a little PSA for you.
We're going to hold that PSA. Me and Tony are going to wrap up our cues, and then we'll come back to that PSA.
Fine.
Just so we don't throw it out there.
Fine.
So I'm still finishing up Lost in Space and digging into Better Call Saul season 3. I know season 4 starts up sometime soon. It's just one of those backlog things I'm just trying to go through. Better Call Saul is really well written, fun to watch. Lost in Space is really good, just haven't had time to let's watch several hours worth of footage. The Infinity War soundtrack, put that on my queue earlier this week. I've listened to it about twice now. It's probably one of the better things that Alan Silvestri's done. He just recently did Ready Player One soundtrack. This is good. Has some really nice pieces in it. And then Radar over the next couple of weeks. The only thing I've got a lot of stuff to finish up. I've got to finish up Bosch as well. Out in the theaters, though, Terminal is the only thing that looks moderately interesting. It's got Margot Robbie and Simon Pegg in it. Really weird. Go watch the trailer. It's different, but Simon Pegg's always fun to watch, no matter what kind of role he's in.
True.
And Margot Robbie, I'm kind of starting to appreciate her a little bit more as an actress lately. No, not Terminal with Steven
No.
Spielberg.
I feel like I've seen the trailer.
Okay. It's very greenish and bright popping colors, and she at the end of it, she's as a nurse. She has a nurse costume on. Mm-hmm. Weird. So,
let's see here. I'm going to be finishing watching Lost in Space. I've finished the first episode, so I'm going to try to get to the rest. It's kind of long.
The new one
on Netflix.
How is it? Because
it's good.
It's supposed to be for kids.
No.
Dude. There's a Lost in Space for kids.
Not.
I'm not kidding.
No,
Even
the new Lost in Space is not
Hold on.
directed at kids.
One moment, please.
I'll be trying to tackle some
Really?
nostalgia films. So I'm going back in the past closet, the 80s, looking for stuff there. I don't know. I'm going to find something, I think. But Lost in Space is on my queue primarily right now to figure out and sort through. It's just I need to find that time, like Ron said, just sit down.
I think I'm 5 episodes. I might be 6 episodes in, and I think it is just fantastic. The father is from Black Sails,
right?
That was on Stars. The mother is
House of Cards.
Just got me off of House of Cards.
Molly Parker.
And I think the kids are what sell this thing.
Well written. Yes.
I think the little boy that plays Will is fantastic.
Okay, that's why, people. Sorry, I didn't see TV PG. I saw
And I like their approach to like how they're approaching the robot. Like that robot can go back and forth between, is he good now or is he evil? And it had Parker Posey. It has
Parker Posey?
Yes.
I hate her.
No.
Are you kidding me?
No. In this.
Oh,
okay.
I think I've said at least once or twice per episode to my wife that how far are you in?
I'm in the first episode, almost done.
Once you get into about like 5th or 6th, you're going to be wanting to reach through the screen and just choke her and say, I hate this character. I hate what she's doing to the family. I hate what she is as a person.
So she's being a good actress, or you hate Parker Posey?
The character is manipulative.
The character.
Okay, well, she's doing a good job.
Oh, yeah, she's doing a great job. I hate
Have you seen House of Yes?
The character.
Okay, first of all, I saw that when I was in high school, before I saw the show at NAS. That was my first NAS show in high school.
Oh, my God. So great.
Yes.
Own that DVD,
Creepy.
by the way.
And you got a young Freddie Prinze Jr. in the film. So, yeah. Yeah,
What?
I know. He's funny.
It is a very
he's
funny
creepy good.
movie.
He's
House of
creepy
Yes
good.
with Parker Posey. I
good
almost
play.
named my daughter Parker because of Parker
Jr.,
Posey.
I don't think he's doing anything. I think he's a
Semi-retired actor. Yeah.
I think he's a sports marketing dude.
I know Sarah's still doing stuff, so I appreciate that. I miss her a lot.
Do you?
Sarah, yeah, I do.
Are you guys Buffy fans?
That's why I mentioned Sarah, yeah.
Because
No, I never watched it.
my friend Leslie.
And I never really had an interest in it at the time. I think my wife watched all of it.
My friend keeps pushing me. Leslie, pushing.
You haven't seen...
This is what she's saying to me. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Just trust me. And
It's Joss's show.
His baby. You should watch it. Don't watch the movie. Watch the show.
I think I'm going to have some time.
I just remember when we were watching
watch.
Bones. I'm like, I've never seen this David Boreanaz guy before. She's like, he's Angel off of Buffy. I'm like, what?
He has a tan. He's not pale anymore, so it's great. His contract means he can go in the sun, and yeah, it's great.
So yeah.
Joss had a thing in her contract where James Marsters, who plays Spike, and David, who plays Angel, were not allowed to go out during the day. They had to stay inside during the day. They could only go out at night. So that ruined their whole social life for
Tell you what, that'll be my
years.
binge.
I think David Boreanaz has a good social life now. I don't think he's got issues in that.
James is doing audiobooks and Comic Cons.
That'll be my binge.
Smallville, that's right. Buffy, yes. It's good for people who like to read, who like fantasy, and it's like fantasy on screen.
As long as it's not anything like Charmed.
Definitely not. No.
Okay, good. Because I was a little worried.
More intelligent.
For some strange reason.
More intelligent.
I'm going to use it.
Did they ever get... They were crowdfunding a film, weren't they?
That's a Fluffy the Vampire Slayer. It's an English spoof thing.
I think
there was a Buffy the Vampire...
They were crowdfunding Buffy.
Buffy I went to go
First,
see...
it was like a couple years ago. I think they crowdfunded.
Well, sorry.
I'll look into that. Once you get past the first season, you'll be fine. Just get through the first season.
That's kind of what she said.
And then it goes from there. Grace will watch it with me.
I said the movie, and she said, please, no.
It's not
the
does
movie.
not exist.
I'm like, okay.
Does not exist. Grace has not gotten into Angel. She says it's a lot darker, and I think it's slower for her, so she's not gotten into it. But Buffy, she's seen the whole thing with me.
Really?
Loved it, yeah. We're still on season 2.
How old do you think you have to be?
12, 13. Probably.
Okay. Shoot.
If your children are mature, they can handle it. There's a lot of
I don't know.
sexual metaphors that you may have to explain to them.
I don't want to explain sexual metaphors.
Well,
are there visual scary things?
No, this was on the WB in its prime, so there was no nudity.
She has problems with visuals more than she has with audio.
There's some biting because they kill people with bites, but there's no excessive blood. There's no blood really. It's just biting you. You're dead. So
okay, cool.
You're fine.
I will binge on that.
You should, and you'll wow, this is awesome.
Okay.
Joss is giving me a hard time too, but I don't want to get into that story. I don't want to go back there. I don't. But yeah.
So in your queue, Valerie.
Okay, so now Buffy is going. Okay, so Buffy is going to be my binge. My binge.
I think it comes at a right time.
It does. Yes, so I guess so. So I'm going to be on the. I'll be on the mend for a little bit. I am 43 years old. I don't know if I've ever said that before on here, but I'm 43, and I went in to get my first mammogram. I went into Elizabeth Windy, by the way, which I do recommend. And I should have probably gone when I was 40, but I did not. First mammogram, I came out. I do have cancer. I am getting a double mastectomy. This is not one of those things for comments. It's more of, I'm coming to tell you that, look, I didn't even think anything about it. I'm just going to go in and get okay, fine. Everybody kept saying, go in, get your mammogram. I just didn't do it. And I came out, and this is what happened. So I'm going to be fine. I'm going to live. Everything's going to be okay for me, and a lot of women aren't. And I just want everybody to, if you're a woman, go get your mammogram. If you're, I don't know, listening to this and love a woman, go tell her to go make sure that she gets her mammogram every year. It's important. And if it's in her family at all, she needs to go early. I just want to, so the guys are being awesome about the fact that, so we're going to kind of take things a little differently as far as the podcast.
We're gonna slow down a little bit. We're coming into a busy season, and out of respect for, I don't want to bring in another host to replace Valerie, because we love having her on the show, and I love having her voice here. We're gonna move back to a 2-week schedule right now. Why this happens, and so she can get her recovery in, and we don't lose her. And we're gonna try to do at least one remote episode in there, so that'll give her a good month of recovery in there in between episodes. And Anthony's got a baby coming on the way, aside from the baby he's already got taken care of.
When is the due date?
June 21st.
So that's coming up quick. So, and then I'm
Summer solstice, baby.
Yes.
And then mine, in order of most important things to super least important things. My summer is getting busy as racing season starts and photography and theater. So we just thought it was wise just to kind of break this back to a 2-week schedule for a little while, just to give us all a little bit of a breather and let us take care of our families and ourselves. And so I hope you'll stick around with us, and we're still going to be here. We're still going to talk about things and
keep watching movies.
Yeah, keep watching movies, because that's what we like to do. And
we do.
Occasionally talk about other stuff.
Occasionally.
So that wraps up our show. Tony, where can we find you?
I'm at SMTORCHIO. That's on Twitter. That's all over.
You can find me at home. I'm just kidding. No, I'm on Instagram at PennyLane64. So I can Instagram all of my thoughts about Buffy or whatever I'm watching. So I will. I can, so I can be Instagramming those out. And I'm PennyLane64, I believe, on Twitter.
I don't think you are.
I'm not?
You retweeted something, and I'm like, who is this person? And I think it was V Vidmar.
You know why? Because I have 2 Twitter accounts.
Okay.
And I can never figure out Twitter.
Yeah. I think it was V Vidmar is what you would retweeted.
When I figure out Twitter, I will put it on the Instagram.
It's definitely not Penny Lane.
I think it is. It's just that I messed it up. Don't worry, people. I can never figure out Twitter. I'm not really. Yeah, Instagram's more my thing.
They're not very active on those.
But I will be.
Occasionally, Anthony posts something out there.
I'll make sure that I put it on the Cultural Stew.
Yeah, however you want to tag it. I try to be as active as I can be. I kind of took a break there for a couple weeks, and then just kind of got back into things this week. You can find me over at Twitter as at GFMedia, and pretty much GFMedia CEO or at GFMedia, pretty much everywhere. Vimeo page. You can go and see my latest film that just dropped this morning. Had a nice little preview for it last night down in Ithaca. So that's over on my Vimeo page, and you can find us at Cultural Stew Net on Twitter. You can find us at culturalstew.net and kind of get just basically every once in a while we'll put up a review, but it's been a long time since we've added a review.
I will have time.
You can listen to these episodes directly from the page and go back and listen to them. And you can also find us on Facebook as at the Cultural Stew Podcast. So that's it. That wraps up our show.
Take care, everyone.
We'll see you all next time. Hear you all next time. Feel you all next time.
Try for later.
The intro and break music is Please Listen Carefully by Jazir, available through the Creative Commons license from Free Music Archive. The outgoing music is provided by Epidemic Sound. Please see our show notes for details on what the outgoing song is and who it is by. And also, as always, if you have a piece of music that you'd like us to play or consider playing, please contact us today. Like what you've heard? Want to continue to hear more? Please consider Patreon. What is Patreon, you ask? Patreon is a content creator support site, a way for people to support the things they love and allow creators to continue creating the content that they love. Please consider heading over to patreon.com/GFMedia and becoming a Patreon supporter today.